Hello! I'm Leslie and welcome to Inside YouTube! Hello! Today I'm going to be looking at EA Sports and their post-release patches. This is part number 1 of a 2-part special. EA have been getting worse for patches over the last couple of years. They release a game, people like it, and then they patch it and completely fuck it up. This has happened countless times. Take for example EA MMA. MMA was the best mixed martial arts game ever made. There were live broadcasts featuring actual players, real commentators, even including the occasional professional fighter. The gameplay balance was almost perfect, and the submission system was unique. The only drawback originally was the allowance of the button masher control scheme, which allowed players to strike using the buttons, instead of the more skillful total strike control which was fought using the analog sticks. It wasn't the fact that people were using buttons, but the fact that buttons allowed you to react so much faster than someone using sticks. All of this was bad, but it didn't kill the game. After all, that's a sense of accomplishment when beating someone who's using the sticks, despite a massive speed and reaction handicap. What killed the game was EA deciding to change it based on complaints of bad players who basically sucked at the game. Now here's EA's biggest problem. EA think about money above all else. They just want to sell games to the lowest common denominator. EA decided that there were far too many noobs out there that they hadn't cashed in on yet, so they decided to make the game easier for bad players while also fucking over people that were good. EA make the mistake of listening to complainers on their forums, but it's only ever people that complain about the game that write on the forums. Everyone who actually likes the game just shuts up and plays it. The best thing about EA MMA was the live events. In theory, the live events gave the chance for average players to compete in front of other players watching live. The problem was, you had to kiss ass on the live chat featured on the MMA website. That was the only way you could get a fight, because the moderator, known as Preston, decided that anyone who asked to compete doesn't get to, and anyone who licks his balls gets to fight every week. The system was flawed, but the live events were still fun when they worked, and more so when Preston was relieved from matchmaking duty for giving verbal abuse to people that didn't suck his miniature little penis in the live chat. After a few months, they changed the live events so it was just one a month, and then later placed the entire matchmaking system in the hands of the players themselves, who developed an awful system which required fighting once a week in tournaments to compete in the live events. The only way to get into the tournaments was to be invited by a friend who was already in one. If you didn't have friends playing the game, there was no chance of you getting a shot in an event. But EA didn't stop there. They were determined to kill this game in any way they could. They changed the game so that you could hold block in so many situations without taking any damage. That meant that you could be mounted, taking punches to the face, and just last the round. Somehow players were even able to hold block and reverse transitions, which was originally impossible. This brings me to the lag affecting players outside of North America, who have to play the game in slow motion, even when the game isn't freezing. The game runs at about half the speed that it does offline. Parrying against a lagging fighter is practically impossible. For all you ignorant bitches out there, lagging does not always affect both parties, especially when the servers are located much closer to one player than the other. So to anyone who still plays the game, if you fight and win a fight in the first round with no resistance standing or on the ground, and the other player just looks like shit, it's not because you're a god, they were probably just lagging. So in summary, MMA is just a broken game with glitched characters with more stats than they should have, and cheap exploits such as the parry takedown. If you still play this game, chances are you're a button masher and cheat like a bitch. But hey, EA don't care. If you don't use the buttons and you're a true player, fair play, but get out of that game and move on. The game just isn't worth your time anymore. Look out for part 2 of my EA special coming soon. Toodles!